everybody, and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to share with you what I'm working on. Every year, about twice a year, I will can mushrooms. And I thought it would be nice to show you this year. I think it's been about 3 years ago, the last video I shared. How do I can mushrooms? What do I use them for? And why would I bother? Well, mushrooms have a very short shelf life. In other words, if you buy a pack of mushrooms and put them in your refrigerator, they won't last very long. But if you can them, they are amazing, and you can put them in anything that calls for mushrooms. But we add a twist to it. You can add Lipton's onion soup mix or Dollar Tree version, or you can add your own, simply adding your own dried onions and some beef broth. So this is granulated beef broth, which is MSG free, and it's a little more healthier. I'm going to use a little bit of both because I like the onion soup mix. It has a little salt in it, and it has a lot of other flavorings as well, which help make the mushrooms taste amazing. You don't need any of that. You can just can your mushrooms plain, but I like to add a little bit of that roasted vegetable and beef flavor. All of these mushrooms have been rinsed really well. I just rinsed them over cold water in the tap, and I just drained them. Mushrooms are simple, very simple, but you need a pressure canner. This is a pressure canning method. You have to have a pressure canner if you want to can mushrooms because they're low acid. If you are not sure much about canning, I would highly instruct you to look at all the different instructional videos that people have on the difference between water bath canning and pressure canning, and I also have a lot of canning recipes in my playlist. We're going to take washed pint jars. I do not recommend you can mushrooms in anything larger than a pint jar. It is so simple. What we're going to do is we're going to add the mushrooms to our jars. What do we want to use these for when it's canned? You can use the broth and you can add it to meatloaf. Pour off the broth and just use the mushrooms to soups and stews. You can add it to steaks and burgers, just about anything. Or you can have the broth and the mushrooms and add it to vegetable soup. Add it to all kinds of soups. We're going to go ahead and just add the mushrooms to the jars. So one of these is one of these. So it's very simple to calculate how much mushrooms you're going to need. So I try to make one of these fit in one of these jars. And you're going to push down because the mushrooms will shrink to half the size. So if you make it really full, don't worry, because it does shrink down to size. So we're just going to push them down in, just like that. And there you go, 1 pint and 1 pack of mushrooms. To this jar, I'm going to add a tablespoon of Lipton onion soup mix. It doesn't matter how little or how much you put in, if you don't put any in at all. It just adds the flavoring. I'm also going to add another tablespoon of onion because I love seasonings in my food. And that's all we need to do, and then we're going to add water to that, and I'll show you that on the next step. I'm going to go ahead and fill out 9 pints of these amazing mushrooms. It's very important after we put water into these jars that we debubble because there is a lot of air pockets when you are canning mushrooms. So after we put the water in, I will take the end of a spoon and go like this and to make sure there's no air bubbles in. Very, very important. Right? All we do now is fill our jars with water. Do not overfill them. I usually go to about the neck of the jar. right, I'll get back to you when we're finished. All right, we don't throw these away. These are great for seed starting little boxes. So I love these. I'm gonna go ahead and wash these and put these in the potting shed, and I'll use them next spring to start my seeds growing projects. So these are perfect if you want to start your own garden seeds. I'm going to go ahead and wash them. We're going to go out and put them in the potting shed. And now we got to get started with our pressure canner because all of our jars are ready. There's all of our jars. We're going to pressure can it, and I'll show you the time in just a moment. Waste not, want not. And since my hose was sitting in the sun, I got hot water for free. I'm gonna go ahead, wash all of these and make sure they're dried off good. And then I'll put them away for next year. Go wash these off real good and dry them. And these will be perfect for starting seeds next year. And that's how you do it. You don't waste anything. So I got the mushrooms for free. I used up old canning jars that some of them were my grandma Fanny's. I had some lids that I saved for my birthday last year, because you know when I get birthday money, I buy canning lids. That's what I do for the last 25 years. Every time I get birthday money in January, I use that for canning supplies. So basically, I made most of the food to can for all winter long for about free, with a little bit of propane, that is. We cook on propane here at the homestead. We don't use electricity. And I like the propane. It's a really good hot heat and it really fires up good, but it does make the house really, really hot. That's one drawback with propane. All right, we got them done. Now I'm gonna finish my laundry and get that on the line. And then I hope I have a little extra time today to read your comments and reply back. What I do is I get all of my work done first, and then later in the afternoon and early evening, I try to catch up with all the comments before my next video comes out. Always something here going on at my home, but you know what? It's a lot of fun. And I hope you enjoy watching these videos. I hope maybe you learn a little something, but I hope you're highly entertained because, hey, I'm just an everyday girl in this big world, just trying to make a difference. I've really been trying this year to be organized, and so as soon as something's done, I put it away. That's really been helping me. Instead of putting it somewhere and say, I'll do it later, I do it right away. And then I don't seem quite so overwhelmed. So these were washed and dried, now we're gonna go put them in the potting shed. So I have them for next year. I bought a bunch of these Dollar Tree brooms, and I put one in each area. It's really nice and you don't have to carry around your brooms everywhere. And then I put a hook to keep the broom in the area so they don't fall down. So that's what I do. So there you got the broom right where you need it, when you need it the most. I've been doing that to every part. So I have one on my porch, one on my back porch, and so forth. Helps keep things organized. Yes, organized. And that is something you gotta do, or things just start looking really sloppy really quick. But something I've really been working on this year, and it's really making my life less stress. Because when you're busy cooking and cleaning, and you can't find half the stuff you need, you're stressed out before you even begin. Trust me, I know all about it. I gotta keep my canning garage cleaned up better, but my grandchildren are gonna help me with that. Because that's the place I put everything for when I make projects here on the homestead.